In this speed painting tutorial, we're going to teach you how to paint a Genestealer Cult Acolyte in 30 minutes or less. Brought to you by fatdwarf.co.uk, home for all your wargaming and battle essentials. Here's the paints we used in this scheme. Prime with any grey primer. First, Nuclear Sunrise. Cover all the fabrics of the model with a nice thin coat, making sure not to get any of the paint on the skin or armour. Don't worry about grey coverage for now, as we're going back in for a second coat later on. And that's how it should look. Now we're going in with Grim Black. This is going to be for all the boots, straps, belts and any other hard leathers. Make sure to pull your butt brush in the direction you want the pulling to go. Now here I'm being quite careful not to get any on the base, but it doesn't really matter that much. It is worth being careful near the orange though, as if you do get any on there, you will have to go back in with grey and paint Nuclear Sunrise back over it. And now for his holster. We're pulling our brush downwards here to make sure the pink pulls at the bottom of the holster to give a nice gradient. Again, being careful not to get any on the orange. Nice and slowly. And same again on the front of the holster, try not to get any on the white or any of the orange. Any pouches can be done with the Grim Black as well, although there's nothing stopping you using a different colour, but for the sake of speed, we're just going to use black. And not forget Annie's little bell on the back. And now for Zealot Yellow. We're using Zealot Yellow just for the casing of the gun, just to add a bit of contrast to the whole model. Again, pulling the brush towards where you want the paint to pull. Don't worry about being too neat with this stage, but we will be going in with metallics next. Now for steel. First we're painting the drum on the gun. This paint gives a really nice coverage and has a similar tone to Lead Belcher. Again, making sure to avoid any unwanted areas. Be particularly careful on the chain. Any cult icons on the models might be a bit difficult to paint, but just take your time and it'll look perfect. Finally, just his little rebreather on his chest. And there we have it, that's all the metals painted. Now for bright red. First we're using it on the sticks of dynamite on his back. Again, pulling the brush downwards to make sure the paint pulls towards the bottom, giving a nice gradient. And back to Nuclear Sunrise. This is just used for our second coat on all the fabrics. Again, just being careful not to get it on any of the light surfaces. And that's how it should look. Now back to bright red. We're using bright red as a nice base coat for the base. Start off with quite a small brush here, but soon switch to a larger one. Just make sure to get in all the nooks and crannies and avoiding any detail on your base that you don't want to be the base colour, such as our crystals. Here I moved over to a Citadel shade brush and got a much better result. And there we go, the base coat's done. Now on the copper. This is only used for the cult icon on the front. Again, being very careful not to touch any of the orange. Now for dark tone. You could use null oil, but we just prefer dark tone. I'm loading my brush up quite heavily and going on all the white armor panels, painting perpendicularly to all the panel. This gives a really quick, effective, shaded armor look. Here I'm just loading my brush up quite heavily and getting in all the recesses that the paint hasn't quite reached. Again on all the knee pads, and pulling my brush in the direction I want any pooling to happen. I'm going over the metal pieces here as well, just to give them a nice bit of shade. And finally, just his backpack and back. I'm just going to go around the arm a little bit just to give it a bit of shadow. Now over all the gun casing. The muzzle and barrel. Now for Crusader Skin. Going straight over all the fleshy parts. This paint is almost as if Bugman's Glow and Ryclin Fresh Shade had a baby. Pulling away from the raised surfaces to make them slightly lighter. Here you can see I've got a bit of pulling on the side of the head there. Just use a damp brush and just wick it away. Now the same for all the arms. This may start to look a bit human right now, but we will go back in later with some nice alien colours. Painting the other arm, don't too worried about getting it on the claws because we'll be using quite a dark colour for them later on. And there we go, the skin's done. Now for Ryza Rust. I'm using an Artisopa's dry brush and simply dragging it along the surface. I've let the red base coat dry for about 5 to 10 minutes here before I've done this. As you can see, I'm going over the boots a little bit as well, just to add a bit of environment to the model. The only thing I would avoid on the base is the 2 crystals. Get a bit on the boots, and all over the red. If you're struggling to reach, use more of a stippling motion than a dragging motion. And there we go, a nice Martian base. Now for Druchii Violet. Druchii Violet. Druchii. I've used 50% water, 50% Druchii Violet here, just to give a nice thin base towards the bottom of the head. Going along the jaw, and on the other side. I'm pulling down towards the bottom of the model, just to make sure all the colour goes to the bottom. And now here I'm going in with Druchii Violet on its own, and making sure to pull downwards. Back in with a bit of water, just to feather out the edges to avoid any nasty tide marks. And now the exact same process with all the arms. Going in first with Druchii Violet, getting a nice base towards the edge, and back in with water to feather it outwards. Doing the same here, but a bit heavier this time, as I want the carapace to look a bit more purple and alien on this side. Again, feathering out with water. Going a bit heavier on the hands with the Druchii Violet, just to give a nice bit of contrast. Any pulls you get, like you can see here, just wick it away with a damp brush. Using the water to wick away at the shade gives a really nice gradient. Now just going in with a bit more Druchii Violet, just want a bit more contrast. Going back in on the face, just making sure to put a bit of contrast around the eyes. And there we go, a nice alien skin tone. Now for Purple Swarm. We'll just simply put a nice thin coat over all the claws. Now for Shamrock Green. We're only using this on the crystals and the light on his shoulder. Again, pull downwards to make sure the shade goes into the bottom. There we go. Now to finish the model off, just paint the Shamrock Green in the torch. And we're done. This really simple scheme looks super effective, only took me about 30 minutes and uses fairly few paints. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and check out our Instagram. And make sure to check out fatdwarf.co.uk for wound trackers, battle counters, rulers and more. And now with 10% off with code AXE10. Thanks for watching.